You're listening to part one of an interview with the first place winner of the Catholic University Center for Human Rights annual Human Rights Essay Contest by William Saunders, Director of the Center for Human Rights. To read the award-winning essays, go to humanrights.catholic.edu.
First of all, congratulations on a very good essay titled "The CCP's Genocide Against the Uyghurs, Why Americans Should Care." So I just want to talk about this a bit so that people can be familiar with this. We will post this on our website so that people that want to go back and read it and share it can do so. And I hope, Peter, you'll share this also over your networks of friends and stuff. So tell me, just as your title says, well, first, what is the CCP's genocide against the Uyghurs? And first, even prior to that, who are the Uyghurs if someone listening doesn't know?
Yeah, absolutely. Well, thank you again, Dr. Saunders, for having me on the show, and thank you for the kind words. So the Uyghurs, they are a Central Asian or a Turkic Muslim group that live in East Turkestan, but the name that most people know East Turkestan by is Xinjiang, which is the Chinese name given. And essentially, what has happened, really after 2014, was that the Chinese Communist Party started, placing Uyghurs into internment camps, and they essentially started a campaign, a mass campaign of genocide against the Uyghurs, aimed at really targeting this population and limiting its growth, its population. Yeah.
Yeah, so for anybody listening, you hear the word genocide probably, and most listeners may be very sophisticated on this, but if you're not, genocide, sometimes we think of genocide as equivalent to mass murder, but it's not the same thing, although it certainly includes mass murder. But it's actions targeted at the elimination of a group, an ethnic group or a linguistic group or a religious group, or any actions targeted to annihilate them, basically. So what did the CCP start to do in 2014?
So in 2014, there were, as I can recall, two events that really sparked outrage from the CCP, and it was there was an attack, some sort of lone wolf Uyghurs attacked a market in Urumqi, which is the capital of Xinjiang, and then there was also another knifing attack at Kunming rail station. And so in 2014, the CCP, they declared their People's War on Terror. And what had happened was they basically started linking population growth with religious extremism.
So yeah, it's pretty chilling in your excellent article. Tell folks about some of the things they did to deal with this population, which they equated with kind of terrorism, just the growth in population. Just talk about some of the things they did.
Absolutely. It's not only what they did, but what they continue to do today.
Yes,
And
yes.
it's just so forced abortions is definitely something that they do. Mass sterilization, so the use of chemical sterilizations, but also the use of intrauterine devices, IUDs, and basically to control the population in the internment camps, but also outside of internment camps. So data has shown, and this is primarily data from Dr. Adrian Zenz, who is a senior fellow in China studies at the Victims of Communism Memorial Foundation. He published a couple of articles with or papers with the Jamestown Foundation. And in his study, he noticed declines in the Uyghur population growth. So he found that natural population growth rates decreased by 84% in two of the largest Uyghur prefectures between 2015 and 2018. And then he also estimated that growth rates in southern Xinjiang were trending near or below zero. So it is quite drastic.
I mean, that's incredible. You should go through that again because um, this is a measure of how effective their genocide is. So there's a natural population growth, but the Chinese Communist Party has intervened in that because they equate Uyghur population growth with terrorism because of these kind of lone wolf attacks you talked about. So just go through that again. Their measures have obviously are being effective. So just highlight that point again.
Absolutely. Absolutely. Yeah. So the data shows that their, natural population growth rates have decreased by 84% in the two largest Uyghur prefectures between 2015 and 2018. And also the studies have shown that growth rates in southern Xinjiang were trending near or below zero.
I mean, that is incredible. Anybody listening, I mean, that is I mean, it's mind blowing.
Absolutely.
So it's not mass murder, but it's the trying to end the natural growth of the Uyghur population. And it's being highly effective, which increases, I think it makes acute the need for us to pay attention to this, right?
Absolutely.
And say a few more things about what the CCP is doing, like things short of mention as many as you want. I mean, what are they doing in the intern camps? What are those aimed at doing? What are they doing in vis-a-vis the normal home life of the Uyghur population? Also,
Absolutely. So in some 380 internment camps, over 1 million Uyghurs are held captive. And essentially, Uyghurs are subject to hours of CCP propaganda classes, classes on um, Mandarin, so Mandarin lessons. And this is all done to basically dilute the Uyghur identity, to really just erase and eradicate. That's one part. Another part's also forced labor and penal labor. I mean, Uyghurs are placed in these internment camps to they're forced to work, and there are different sectors, sort of like textile sectors or even seafood packaging, where Uyghurs are really forced to do work um, in horrible conditions. That's another thing. And there also have been reports and testimonies by Uyghur women who have reported being just sexually assaulted and raped within the internment camps by internment guards. So it really is just horrific. Just
now I mean
appalling.
I don't know if they are. Uh, I mean, rape obviously is used in wartime and different situations to break down the will of people and to humiliate and degrade people. But it can also work in result in births, obviously pregnancies and births. And it does seem to me the CCP has at least a partial policy to destroy Uyghur identity by kind of uh, forcibly creating births of Han men and Uyghur women. Do you agree? It seems pretty, I know it seems probably to most people listening, it just seems bizarre, but that's what's going on, isn't it?
Yeah, so you're referring to the inter-ethnic marriage, is that correct?
Well, interethnic marriage and even perhaps from these rapes in the prison. I mean, they're used obviously to humiliate the women, but some of them could result in births of Han
Right,
men
right,
and Uyghur women.
right. Yeah, no, I mean it really is meant to dilute the population. I mean that's essentially, I think, another tactic that the CCP uses with these rapes, but also to also with inter-ethnic marriage as well.
So they're forcing, and they're also, as I understand it, they have uh, Han men who representing or CCP stooges living in homes of
Yes.
Uyghur. So they're basically spies in your household. Um, Uh, and there's, of course, this massive surveillance system in that part of China with millions and millions of cameras watching everything. Um, I think you talked in your essay also about not permitting because the Uyghurs are, I don't know if they're exclusively, but they're predominantly Muslim,
Yes.
from following their religious practice of even meeting and reading the Quran. So, Peter, I mean, in your essay, you talked about you have a little part of it where you talk about the genocide that's going on is a double persecution. Why don't you just, for the listener, tell them what you mean by that?
Absolutely. So, although the CCP's genocide target both weaker men and women are the key to the CCP's genocide for their ability to give birth, right? And so the genocide exhibits a double persecution of Uyghur women for their sex and also their faith. And I do think that highlighting this double persecution is important because there is a religious persecution aspect of this genocide as well. I mean, the Chinese Communist Party, they're materialists, right? They're Marxist Leninists, they're communists. And so obviously the eradication of religion is a key component to their actions. So
Well, yeah, I mean, communism, anything that sets up an ultimate authority that is not the CCP is a threat, as in their view, to the supremacy of the CCP. So if you believe in God, whether you're a Christian, a Catholic, a Muslim, or whomever, they're against you. And that's why they're building the cult of Chairman Xi in China right now, where in Catholic churches and other places you have to see his picture and sing songs to him and read his sayings. So yeah, Islam is a threat to them in their view, and so they're ruthless.
The Catholic University of America's Center for Human Rights has published a documentary on the United Nations Universal Declaration on Human Rights. The documentary features world-class human rights experts, from former State Department officials to ambassadors and human rights activists. It can be found on our website at humanrights.catholic.edu.